My dad is a simpleton. My mom is mentally unwell. My grandma encountered my mom at the market fair. After confirming she was a homeless woman, Grandma brought her back to the village, married her to my dad, and she gave birth to me. Luckily, I'm not simple-minded, nor do I have any hereditary mental illnesses. Not only am I smart, but I'm also damn good-looking. Grandma dotes on me. She says I look a lot like my grandpa, who passed away decades ago. Unfortunately, our family is too poor and Grandma is old. She also has to take care of a simpleton and a mentally unwell patient, so she really can't give me much love. So she can only love me emotionally. Of course, I'm also very sensible. Not only have I excelled academically since I was young, but I also know how to do all sorts of farm work. Village kids only start harvesting rice at 10, but I started at 7. Pulling peanuts, digging sweet potatoes, cutting pig feed, I was a little expert at everything. The key thing is, none of this hindered my studies. Because I got good grades and was capable, everyone praised me. At school, the teachers and the principal always talked about me. Plus, my grandma is very cheerful. Under her influence and in a good social environment, I didn't develop any strange personality traits like low self-esteem or reclusiveness. For high school, I attended a private school. The reason was simple. They offered extremely good conditions. They waived my tuition, book fees, miscellaneous fees, and accommodation fees. Also, because of my family situation, they gave me a monthly food allowance of 1,000 yuan and even awarded me a one-time scholarship of 500,000 yuan. 500,000! I ranked first in the entire city, and to recruit me, they rewarded me with 500,000. My family's total assets didn't even add up to 3,000 yuan. By getting first place, I unexpectedly became the richest person in the village, and my education didn't cost a cent. Incredible. The only downside was that it was too far from home, located in the provincial capital. Getting home required several transfers and took over 9 hours. But the environment at this private school truly opened my eyes. The various buildings exuded opulence and grandeur. Some facilities I had never even seen before. Even the sports field felt like it was covered with a carpet. The dormitory felt like stepping into a mansion. Not only was it spacious, but it also had every imaginable facility. A private bathroom, washroom, and balcony. Not to mention appliances like air conditioning, ceiling fans, a washing machine, a direct drinking water dispenser, and a water heater. What was even more amazing was that there were dedicated staff responsible for cleaning. Damn! In middle school, I boarded too. There were over 30 people in one room, with large brick beds built against the walls on both sides and a long table in the middle. Compared to this place, I felt like my previous life was truly shabby. I heard the school uniform I wore cost over 1,000 yuan. I had never worn clothes this expensive, so I always hand-washed my uniform. I was afraid the washing machine would ruin it. Li Pingyan, you're amazing. I hope everyone I love and everyone who loves me will always be happy, healthy, lucky, and safe. I shouted happily. Li Pingyan is my name. My grandma hoped I would always be safe and sound. Li Pingyan, really wished I could study here forever. It would be even more perfect if I could bring Grandma and the others over. I heard this was an international school for the elite, where the students were mostly wealthy. A single semester's tuition was nearly 200,000 yuan. Good heavens! I just wondered if they would charge me tuition if I had to repeat a year. If not, I really would want to study here forever. The school dormitories had 3 standards, rooms for 6, 4, or 2 people. I was assigned a 2-person room. My roommate's name was Heat-shun. I heard his family's assets were in the hundreds of billions. They were super rich. My becoming his roommate was specially arranged by the school. After all, his grades were only upper middle. The school probably hoped I could tutor him in my spare time. Of course, Heat-shun was very generous, and I was more than willing to help him. He covered all the dorm's utility bills and even my meal expenses. He also often gave me clothes and shoes he no longer wanted. I was really glad we had similar builds and the same shoe size. Otherwise, I would have cried my eyes out. Those were all major brands, costing thousands, even tens of thousands. Heat-shun was my benefactor and also my good big brother. I scrambled to do all his errands, his clothes, shoes, socks, even his homework. I took care of it all for him. Whatever he liked, I delved into. He played video games, so I practiced whenever I had time, specifically to support him. He dabbled in musical instruments, so I learned alongside him, enabling myself to discuss them with him. He played basketball, so I played too, specifically grabbing rebounds for him, setting him up for his three-pointers. He practiced boxing, so I became his sparring partner. Know what he knows, think what he thinks. In short, cater to his preferences to make Big Brother comfortable. When he was comfortable, he'd reward me with a lot of money. This was what my grandmother taught me. When dealing with those in high positions, don't feel inferior, don't be obsequious. Because getting along with them doesn't require just blind flattery or sucking up. You need to base your efforts on their preferences, enhance your learning, and showcase yourself by catering to their tastes as much as possible. Based on their temperament, bravely take responsibility and get things done, becoming their little Zhuge Liang. Let them see your value. Use sincerity and competence to win their deep recognition. Therefore, regarding He-Chin's hobbies, I worked harder at mastering them than he did. This way, I could be by his side as both a mentor and a friend, an indispensable companion. After all, for a young master like him, worth hundreds of billions, there were hordes of people eager to carry his shoes and run his errands. Besides, didn't you see even the principal brown-nosing him? Without some real ability, how could I possibly catch his attention? However, in school, apart from some senior teachers who thought somewhat highly of me, the other students secretly mocked me as He-Chin's sycophantic lackey. They even nicknamed me Translatorly, implying I was like the traitorous translators in anti-Japanese war dramas. This bunch of bookworms, who only knew how to study, had no clue about the real situation. What kind of person was He-Chin? Did they know how much incense they must have burned in their past lives just to end up as his classmates? Given the opportunity, they didn't know how to seize it and instead acted all high and mighty. So, throughout high school, my reputation at school wasn't good. On top of that, the school, trying to build its own image, publicized my family's circumstances, inviting the media to trumpet stories about my foolish father, neurotic mother, elderly grandmother, and studious me. Sigh, I didn't give a damn. Consequently, throughout high school, even though I was handsome and got good grades, I never once heard of any girl having a crush on me. They weren't even willing to exchange more than a few words with me, let alone the male students, full of adolescent righteousness and a strong sense of justice. But so what? Li Pingyan, you're truly fortunate. I hope Big Brother He-Chin always enjoys auspicious times, embraces splendid years, and finds eternal happiness and peace. In my heart, I felt no gratitude towards the school, even though it had treated me well too. Just like that, the two of us got along very happily for a year. Unfortunately, his grades dropped, and I damn well plummeted to below 100 place too. People outside said all sorts of things about me, but I just thought they hadn't met a good Big Brother themselves. It was just sour grapes. In our second year of high school, the school got anxious and wanted to separate us. I refused, and He-Chin refused too. See? My standing in He-Chin's eyes was already quite high. Finally, I made a solemn vow, guaranteeing I'd place in the top 5 of the entire grade in the major exams, and only then did the school back down. Among the new students this semester was a junior girl named Li Yinxi. She was stunningly beautiful. She often came looking for He-Chin, and each time, her arrival caused a stir among the boys in our class. He-Chin proudly announced in class that he and Li Yinxi had been betrothed since childhood. Moreover, Li Yinxi confirmed it, making all the boys in the class, and indeed the entire school, burn with envy. Everyone knew He-Chin's family background, so no boy dared to even approach Li Yinxi. Furthermore, Li Yinxi herself hailed from a powerful family dynasty worth hundreds of billions. Holy crap, hundreds of billions plus hundreds of billions. When those two get married, how could they ever spend all that money? And so, from then on, our duo became a trio. Of course, although I made a solemn vow to the school, serving my patron remained my top priority. Serving him was much better than working part-time jobs, and the compensation was more than I could ever earn, even working 10 jobs. It's just that the patron's fiancée also came to this school. So, I went from serving one person to serving two. But less than 2 months after starting to get along with Li Yinxi, she gradually lost her initial warmth towards me. I knew why. It was simply that someone had been bad-mouthing me to her, And coincidentally, she discovered I really was just as those people had described. But I didn't care one bit. Carrying her to rank up in a few games would smooth things over. Serving two people simultaneously, coupled with Hee-Chen's incredibly broad range of interests, meant my time for serious studying was inevitably tighter than in my first year of high school. In the end, I only managed to rank in the top 20. But the school didn't make an issue of it. After all, Hee-Chen didn't want us separated, and while my grades didn't quite meet the requirement, they weren't far off. Entering the second semester of senior year, I finally reclaimed the top spot, ranking first in all 10 mock exams. However, Li Yinxi suddenly started acting up again, the kind of difficult that couldn't be appeased even by carrying her to godlike status in games. She felt that I, supposedly a top student, lacked the cool detachment expected of one, acting just like a practiced, bootlicking lackey in front of Hee-Chen. Damn it, I was already like this when she met me. Why is she suddenly pissed off about it? During a meal, Li Yinxi watched me attentively putting food on Brother Chen's plate and said with annoyance, "You freeload off us for everything. Don't you feel ashamed?" I glanced at Li Yinxi, speechless. Damn it, I'd never freeloaded a single thing off her. Who did her homework for her? Who carried her to the challenger rank? She didn't pay a single cent for my trouble, so what right did she have to despise me? Besides, for the past 2 years, I've been the one using Brother Chen's meal card, and whenever we went out, I was the one paying with Brother Chen's card. How did that become me freeloading off them? Were we both freeloading off Brother Chen? We're in the same line of work. How dare she call me out? I ignored her. Seeing I wasn't responding, she added, "Your clothes, shoes, phone, tablet, they're all trash my brother didn't want. Don't you have any self-respect?" Her tone was full of contempt, as if I were a rat hiding from the light. Holy shit, this little brat. When I carried her in games, whenever she needed help, it was always, "Brother Pingyan, quick, support me." Now that she doesn't need me, she started calling me shameless and devoid of self-respect. While serving Hee-Chun these past 2 years, I certainly serve her plenty too. Not only did I run errands and do homework for her, but I also delivered breakfast to the girls' dorm for her every single day. If it weren't for her, I would have reclaimed the top academic spot much sooner. And now, just as we're about to graduate, damn it, she pulls this stunt on me? Does she think this can drive a wedge between me and Brother Chun? You're too naive. I looked at Hee-Chun pitifully and said in a sickly sweet, manipulative tone, "Brother, listen to what Sister Yinchi is saying. I only use Brother's things because I just love Brother's scent, you know? But Sister Yinchi is Brother's little sister, so of course, I won't blame her. After all, she can't possibly carry Brother's scent with her all the time like I do, so she must be jealous of me." Li Yinchi stared at me, dumbfounded. She also calls Hee-Chun brother. Even though they clearly have a marriage pact, calling him Brother Chun, like I do, would be perfectly fine. But no, she has to call him brother, making them sound like actual siblings. Hee-Chun looked at me, the corner of his mouth twitching. He reached out and turned my head away. Jeez, stop grossing me out, holy shit. I turned my head back and whined in an overly cute, affected voice. "Brother, after 3 years together day and night, have you started to despise me too?" As I spoke, I reached out to tug on Hee-Chun's clothes. Hee-Chun leaped to his feet. "Ah, damn it. Don't you come over here. If you come any closer, I'll kick you. You creep." After saying this, he even feigned kicking me. "Brother, are you choosing sister over me now? I care about you the most." I immediately said, aggrieved, "Holy crap, Yinshi, let's go, this guy's lost his mind." With that, he quickly urged Li Yinshi to leave with him, not forgetting to give me a light kick on his way out. Li Yinshi snapped back to reality, glared at me, and immediately followed him. After they left, I smirked. Li Yinshi still thinks she can fight me? After 3 years together, I understand Hee-Chun the best. I know how to give him the best emotional value. If I were a girl, would there even be a place for you? Li Yinshi, his childhood fiancée? Then I looked at the dishes on the table. Hee, all this good food is mine now. Sigh, I really wish I could bring Grandma and the others over to eat together. Thanks to Hee-Chun these past 3 years, my nutrition has improved. I've grown quite a bit taller than when I first started school, even 10 centimeters taller than Hee-Chun himself. Luckily, I can still wear his clothes. And because of Hee-Chun, I brought my grandma, my foolish dad, and my neurotic mom to the city during my second year of high school. I took them to the best medical facilities for a comprehensive checkup. Then I sent them to the best high-end rehabilitation center to properly treat all their various ailments, big and small, and let them recuperate properly. I had told Hee-chin about my family situation and how worried I was about their health, especially my grandma's. So, this was all Hee-chin's suggestion, and he used his connections to help me arrange it. The cost was very high, for 3 people's treatment and recuperation, including room, board, nursing, etc. It came to 1.5 million. I negotiated for a 2-year period, ending exactly on the day my college entrance exams finished. Hee-chin paid the money for me, too. I wrote him an IOU, but he tore it up. Grandma knew about this, too. When I first brought her to the rehabilitation center, she was only momentarily stunned upon hearing the 1.5 million medical cost. After asking me for the full story behind the money, she calmly accepted my arrangements. Using the old fountain pen Grandpa had given her back then as a token of their love, she carefully rewrote an IOU, had me sign it, and personally handed it to Hee-chin. Only then did Hee-chin accept it. My grandma didn't think I wouldn't be able to repay this money in the future. She warned me, a man must have grounds for accepting favors. Throughout life, do not accept casual kindness. I could run errands for him and accept payment, but accepting this kind of unsolicited charity would be greedy. Greedy people are doomed not to last long and will be criticized by others. Of course, these past 3 years, I wasn't just blindly being a devoted suck-up. I followed Hee-chin to his family's corporate group to learn, attending some CEO-level business association meetings and receptions. I learned stock trading, business practices, and investment with him, understanding market trends. Following him, I learned many things not found in books. Hee-chin is my benefactor, so his future wife is definitely someone I need to take seriously. Therefore, I couldn't possibly get angry with Lee Yin-chi over her words. It's just that ever since this woman fired the first shot at me here, she started becoming increasingly shameless, and her words became extremely sharp and mean. She'd pick a fight whenever she saw me, even getting physical sometimes. I was utterly speechless. This Mrs. He is a bit hard to handle. Looks like if I want to work at the He group in the future, life might be a bit difficult. As the college entrance exams approached, we didn't hang out much usually, but we would definitely go out for a stroll on weekend afternoons. One day, Hee-chin and I were playing games in a coffee shop when Lee Yin-chi came looking for Hee-chin. "Hey, beautiful, come play with us." I glanced at her from my seat, teasing. "Sicko," she said, rolling her eyes. "Oh, you're sick. Well, if you're sick, then never mind. Hope you get well soon. When you're better, we'll play together." Hearing this, Hee-chin roared with laughter. I took a deep look at my big brother, hissed softly. Understood. Found a new direction for providing emotional value to big brother. Looks like I'll have to sacrifice his wife from now on. Lee Yin-chi got so angry, she came up and kicked me, telling me to get up and give her the seat. I rolled my eyes at her, sat there sprawled out, and started playing a game on my phone. "You gold-digging guy, here's 1,000, give me the seat." With that, she opened her phone and transferred 1,000 to me. Holy crap. I took a deep breath. Profits must be maximized. I had to escalate this into a bidding war with her. At 1,000, and you have a nerve to act domineering? You 5,000, bring me a glass of water. I said provocatively. You, humph, I'll give you 10,000, just disappear immediately. Saying this, she transferred another 10,000 to me. I quickly tapped accept, goading her. "Is that all you've got? Heh, the great Miss Lee isn't all that impressive. Go pour my big brother a glass of water. I'll pay 50,000 for the service fee." Hee-chin interrupted me, saying, "Quit while you're ahead. Be careful her family doesn't come after you." Hearing this, I instantly understood. Lee Yin-chi's family was quite strict. They would definitely question any unusual expenses. And this idiot Lee Yin-chi would surely sell me out. Of course, 10 or 20,000 was within her normal spending range, so if I scammed her, I scammed her. So, I immediately stood up, gave her the seat, and with a beaming smile, bowed with cupped hands towards Lee Yin-chi, saying, "Mrs. He is indeed rich and generous, truly magnanimous. I, Lee, concede defeat. Your Mrs. He, your whole family are Mrs. He." Lee Yin-chi shouted and kicked at me again. I didn't dodge. Having received 11,000 from her, I figured it covered past service fees. Getting kicked a few times now was just additional service, not worth fussing over. But this girl started getting carried away. Kicking me a few times wasn't enough. She actually tried to use her hands. If I can't afford to offend her, surely I can afford to avoid her? I quickly ran off. Behind me, I heard the sound of a stool falling and Hee-chin's laughter. Big Bro was laughing heartily. Seems like he quite enjoys seeing me and his future wife bickering. Taking care of Big Bro's mood is my duty. From then on, if she picked a fight with me, I fought back. If she didn't pick a fight with me, I picked one with her. As long as Big Bro's laughter continued, I wouldn't stop. Because I only hoped Big Bro would always be happy, always in a good mood. After the Gaokao exams ended, I prepared to take Grandma and my parents back to the countryside. Each offered to drive us, but I initially didn't want to trouble him. The reason was, apart from my grandma being normal, my mom and dad were a bit of a handful, and I was afraid they'd mess up his car. Besides, the mountain roads could easily scrape the car's undercarriage. Having gone off-roading with Hee-chin often, I knew how much repairs cost. Although he wasn't short on money, I'd still feel bad, because it would be purely my fault. But then Li Yinchi specially took leave. She insisted on going too, so there was no way around it. I just didn't expect the Li family to agree to let this precious young miss go into the mountains with me. Weren't they afraid of danger? Weren't they afraid some rough mountain folk might bully Li Yinchi? It wasn't until the farewell dinner Li's parents treated us to before we left that I realized, over drinks, how much they trusted Hee-chin. After all, the two had an arranged childhood engagement. They'd be a couple eventually. Going out to play together didn't pose any real danger. We took 2 cars. I tied my mom into the front passenger seat. My grandma sat in the back with my dad. I drove. I learned to drive in my first year of high school. How could I not know how to drive? Hanging out with Brother Chun. Not only could I drive, but I was also skilled at racing and off-roading. Of course, I had a license. I started school late, so I was actually 2 years older than Hee-chin, already 20 this year. I was 3 years older than Li Yinchi. She was 17 this year. Hee-chin drove the other car. He had a license too. Naturally, Li Yinchi rode with him. I led the way in front, speeding towards my old home like lightning. We had walkie-talkies on in the car. While driving, I didn't forget to keep the atmosphere lively, so Big Bro wouldn't get bored driving. Grandma was also very familiar with Hee-chin and would occasionally chime in, interacting with him. My grandma, despite her age, isn't stodgy at all. She's as eager to learn as I am. Whether back in our old home or at the rehabilitation center, she still maintains her daily reading habit. My grandma is educated. She finished junior high and was a village teacher for a long time. I respect my grandma deeply and never lie to her. She knows about Hee-chin's background, how he has helped me over the years, and, of course, that I'm working under him. She told me that everyone goes through different stages, and each stage holds its unique meaning and value. This phase I'm in with Hee-chin is the best kind of training for navigating society later on. Realizing my own inner worth, potential, and goals during this phase is the true meaning and value I gain from knowing Hee-chin. Although, in her heart, she wishes for me to live a life free of constraints, full of happiness. But she's just an ordinary old woman. No matter how many wishes she makes, the gods won't pay heed. I still have to endure life's hardships. But the truly wise never flee from suffering. They dare to face challenges head-on, living through life's trials with calmness and composure. Besides, following Hee-chin is surely 100 times better than working part-time jobs and sacrificing study time. After the wheat is sown, I'll head south. No one in this world can grant my freedom. Wave goodbye to the setting sun and the wind and the wheat. Walk on and on till the ocean's end. I burst into song. Hee-chin started singing along with me. He is definitely the superior one when compared to me. His good breeding and elegant conduct were cultivated from a young age, and there's much I can learn and emulate from him. He has never looked down on me either, genuinely treating me as a friend. After we entered the village, the remaining residents all came to my house, curious to see what was happening. From the 2 cars, I unloaded many gifts I had bought specifically tailored to the situation of each family in the village. I received no small amount of help from them when I was a child. Now that I have some money, I naturally want to give back. Our house is an adobe brick house, built back when my grandfather was still around. Although it hadn't been lived in for 2 years, it didn't require much cleaning. With the villagers helping out, we tidied the place up quickly. My mother's younger cousin brought over some game, caught in the mountains. I asked him to buy 2 sheep for me when he had a chance. Most people in the village are relatives from my grandma's side. Even those who aren't direct relatives are connected in some way or another. 2 of my aunts helped out busily in the kitchen. To my surprise, Li Yinchi also came in, squatting by the well pump to help wash vegetables. I looked at Li Yinchi, somewhat surprised. She scooped up a handful of water and splashed it on me. I hadn't provoked her. Besides, it was better not to clash with her right now. Firstly, there was work to be done. Secondly, Brother Chen wasn't present, and without this sole spectator, arguing with her felt pointless. Soon, with the help of my 2 aunts and Li Yinchi, I had prepared a full table of food. Some of the village men came over to drink with us too. During the meal, everyone told He Chun and Li Yinchi many stories about my childhood. Most were quite heartbreaking, but I didn't feel sad at all. Grandma says sad things happen every day, so we must actively find reasons for happiness. Besides, I am very happy right now. The drinking went on for a long time, lasting until almost 11 at night. Both He Chun and Li Yinchi were drunk. Everyone pitched in to carry them to their beds. Our house has 3 rooms. Grandma shared a room with my mom. I took a sleeping mat out under the apricot tree by the door and slept outside with my dad. He Chun and Li Yinchi each got a room. Li Yinchi dislikes me. Even though she was drunk, she insisted on taking my room. Maybe because my room was piled high with books, it looked marginally better. Sigh. Anyway, there was just straw under every bed frame. The conditions were pretty much the same. Brother Chun was already putting up with so much. This wouldn't make it much worse. The next morning, after making them breakfast, I prepared to go up the mountain to pay respects to my grandfather. I hadn't been back for 2 years. Although the villagers would also help sweep my grandfather's grave during the Qingming festival, I felt that since I was back, I should go visit him myself. I gathered the items for the tribute, packed a few woven plastic sacks and a shoulder pole, and was just about to leave when I happened to run into Li Yinchi and He Chun, who had woken up. Pingin, where are you going? He Chun asked. I haven't been back for 2 years. I'm going to pay respects to my grandfather, I replied. Then let's go together. Li Yinchi chimed in. The mountain path is very difficult, I said helplessly. Gidge, ask them to take us. Seeing I didn't want to take them, Li Yinchi quickly pleaded with He Chun. Let's go. Otherwise, she won't give up, He Chun said. So, the 3 of us went together. My grandfather was buried on the large mountain above the dam that broke that year. From there, you could see the great river winding its way into the distance. The scenery was beautiful, but this mountain was truly difficult to climb, though mainly for Li Yinchi. For He Chun and me, it was manageable. He Chun and I, one on each side, practically dragged Li Yinchi up the mountain. Grandfather's grave mound was neatly surrounded by apricot trees, each 7 or 8 meters tall. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, as if welcoming our arrival. These apricot trees were planted by my grandmother with her own hands. Apricots in the south are ripe in June. After paying respects to my grandfather, we started picking them. Each knew my grandfather's story. Although it was his first time here, the moment he saw the apricot trees, he knew my grandmother had planted them. My grandmother loved eating apricots. He had also heard my grandmother talk about her, and my grandfather knew how deeply she loved him, and knew that the apricot tree in front of our house was planted by my grandfather. By planting so many apricot trees here, grandmother was expressing her longing for my grandfather. So, while eating apricots, he began telling Li Yinchi the story of my grandparents. My grandfather's name was Li Shimao. Grandmother said I look a lot like grandfather, which means he must have been very handsome. He was a university student from a city who had been sent down to the countryside as an educated youth back in those days. Of course, my grandmother was also very beautiful when she was young, and she had some education. Although it was only a junior high education, which might seem negligible today, it was quite significant back then. That year, my grandmother was volunteering as a teacher in the village, the only teacher in the village school at the time. Grandfather and grandmother first met on the school playground during a welcome gathering organized for the arriving educated youth. With just a single exchange of glances, the two fell in love. However, love in that era wasn't as open as it is today. Their affection was more reserved. They didn't dare to be overly familiar. Furthermore, people's lives were very hard back then, and attitudes were quite conservative. When it came to relationships and marriage, emphasis was placed on parental approval and matchmaking. Although my grandfather was from the city, his family's financial situation was only slightly better than my grandmother's. But even so, his family disapproved of him marrying my grandmother. After all, he was a university student destined for a secure government job, an iron rice bowl, upon returning to the city. How could they let him marry a woman from the countryside? This caused a huge conflict, and his family almost disowned him. But in the end, my grandfather decided to stay in the countryside and marry my grandmother. During the flood that year, my grandfather, as a model cadre, led the charge to the front lines of the flood control effort. He sacrificed his life during that disaster relief operation. When my grandmother heard the devastating news, heavily pregnant and with my father, who was only 4 at the time, she braved the heavy rain, searching everywhere for my grandfather. The moment she saw grandfather's body, grandmother fainted. She lost the baby she was carrying. My father, then 4 years old, developed a persistent high fever from being soaked in the rain and subsequently became mentally disabled. I couldn't imagine how Grandma endured such a succession of bad news back then. I asked her about it. She can face everything from the past calmly now. She said she thought several times about taking my simple-minded father with her to commit suicide and join my grandpa, but in the end, she didn't. She wanted to leave descendants for Grandpa. No matter the cost, she had to find a wife for my simple-minded father to carry on Grandpa's family line. That's how the matter of bringing my mentally unstable mother, who was wandering the streets, home came about. Li Yinchi was very moved after hearing this. Li Pingyan, what do you want to do when you grow up? Li Yinchi asked. Have money, buy a house, buy a car, get a wife? I shouted towards the big river down the mountain. So common. I shouldn't have asked, Li Yinchi said, pouting. She thought my grandpa was great, putting down roots in the countryside for Grandma, diligently serving the people and unhesitatingly sacrificing his life when the people were in danger. She thought my grandma was also great, holding on to this love while raising her simple-minded son all by herself. She even found a wife for her simple-minded son, so he could have children and carry on Grandpa's line, endured hardships raising 3 people alone, and also had to support my education. She felt my ambition shouldn't be so mundane. Facing the big river down the mountain, I stretched and said, sigh. Actually, looking at it from another angle, my grandpa abandoned his parents for love, abandoned his wife and child for others. That can't really be considered great. And my grandma was involved in the crime of abducting a woman. I cried out in pain, turned around, and yelled at Li Yinchi. Li Yinchi, are you crazy? Why did you hit me with an apricot? I'm crazy. Got a problem with that. Look at you. Are those words fit for a human being? I'm going to hit you again. Saying this, Li Yinchi threw another apricot at me. Smack! I snatched the apricot she threw and took a bite. Seeing this, Li Yinchi was so angry she got up to kick me, but she lost her footing as she stood up and sprained her ankle. To punish me, Li Yinchi insisted that I carry her down the mountain on my back. Damn it, you sprained it yourself. Why should I carry you? Well, it's not like Brother Chun could carry her. Speechless, it still had to be me. I obediently carried her down the mountain. Grandma had someone bring ice wrapped in a cloth bag. She applied a cold compress to Li Yinchi's ankle while massaging it. It wasn't serious. Thanks to my grandma's expert technique, Li Yinchi could walk in less than half an hour. Just in case, Grandma also prepared some herbal medicine and wrapped up her ankle. While wrapping the herbs, she didn't stop complaining about me to Grandma, bringing up everything about how I supposedly bullied her at school, tattling on me. What the hell? When the hell did I ever bully her? If talking back to her counts as bullying, then she's done plenty of that to me, and her words are 100 times nastier than mine. Grandma chuckled and coaxed her, promising to teach me a good lesson. I was speechless. Seeing she was okay, I went into the kitchen to cook. The villagers were all busy at noon, so I just needed to cook for the few of us. We ate lunch under the apricot tree. Li Yinchi looked up at the apricot tree and asked, Grandma, did you plant this apricot tree too? Why is there only one planted here? This apricot tree was planted by Pingyan's grandpa when we got married. My grandma also looked up at the apricot tree and said, was it because Grandma loves apricots that Grandpa planted it? Grandma, can you tell me the story of you and Grandpa? What's there to tell? It was decades ago. Grandma, Li Yinshi pleaded coaxingly. All right, I'll tell you after we finish eating, Grandma replied with a smile. Later that evening, young uncle brought back 2 sheep he was leading, and Li Yinshi really liked them. In the following days, Li Yinshi was either feeding the sheep or pestering my grandma, listening to love stories from her era. Meanwhile, I borrowed 2 hunting dogs and, along with a few of my maternal cousins, took Hee-chun wandering in the mountains every day. Before he came, I had already told Hee-chun there was big game in the mountains. So this time, Hee-chun came fully prepared, even bringing thermal imaging equipment. In short, the gear he brought instantly made my cousins feel their matchlock guns weren't so great anymore. Brother Chun was about to go study abroad in the UK soon, so meeting up afterwards would be difficult. As the host and a mountain local myself, how could I not let Brother Chun thoroughly enjoy this kind of mountain fun? For several days straight, we left early and returned late, capturing a lot of prey. Not to mention small animals like rabbits and pheasants. We hunted no fewer than 10 wild boars, and even a wild buffalo. There wasn't much remaining labor force in the village, so almost everyone turned out to help transport the game down the mountain. Because of this, we never got the chance to butcher and eat the 2 sheep we had bought. Hee-chun almost lost himself amidst the villagers' effusive praise. This was exactly the effect I wanted. I thought this trip would surely be unforgettable for Big Brother. After returning from studying in the UK, he definitely wouldn't forget me. Of course, I wouldn't always take Big Brother hunting. With his gear, if we kept hunting like this, I feared he'd wipe out all the game within a 50-kilometer radius in the mountains. So I also interspersed many other activities, catching field mice, grabbing mud frogs, fishing, swimming, and so on. I arranged everything playable in the mountains for him. Sometimes Li Yinshi would come with us. The frustrating thing was she was terrible at everything but loved to join in. Swimming? The water was too cold. Hunting? She couldn't run. Digging wild vegetables? Too tiring. She'd set off full of excitement, but basically relied on me to carry her back. Hee-chun and Li Yinshi stayed at my place until August. Li Yinshi's family called many times, but she just wouldn't go back, even skipping her final exams. I really had to hand it to her. She told her family that with a top student like me around, her studies would only improve, not worsen. Her mom actually believed her and even called me specifically, asking me to tutor her well. Damn it. Wasn't this just creating trouble for me? If all my time went into tutoring you, what about my big brother's fun? Of course, complaining inwardly is one thing, but I still had to do the tutoring that needed doing. I was also afraid of offending the Li family behind Li Yinshi, especially since her mom had personally called me. Actually, kids from rich families like Li Yinshi often have a decent foundation, so teaching her wasn't very difficult for me. Take Hee-chun, for example. I'd seen his family's army of tutors. It would be hard to get bad grades, really. Besides, they knew at least 3 languages since childhood. My strength only lay in the required subjects for standardized exams. So, spending just 2 hours a day tutoring Li Yinshi was enough. In August, Hee-chun and Li Yinshi left. Because Hee-chun was heading off to the UK, Hee-chun gave me the SUV I had driven there. He told me it was just a toy, and since he was giving it to me, I should just take it. Anyway, he couldn't use it in the UK, and it would just gather dust in the garage, so he told me not to be a stranger about it. Holy crap. A Wrangler. Over 500,000 yuan new, with over 400,000 spent on modifications. The total cost exceeded $1 million. And in Brother Chen's eyes, it was just a toy, something he could give away just like that. He even thoughtfully contacted someone to transfer the car's ownership to me. Li Yinshi's mother also transferred 200,000 yuan to my account, saying it was for her daughter's living expenses during her stay. I really love hanging out with these rich people. As they were leaving, I asked Li Yinshi to go dig up some more radishes. She thought I wanted her to dig more to feed the sheep. After all, she had been feeding those sheep for nearly 2 months and had grown attached to them. Before leaving, it was right to give them a good feed. So she skipped off cheerfully with a basket to dig radishes. When she returned, Hee-chun was building a fire, and I was already chopping the mutton chops. She saw the 2 cute sheep heads already detached from their bodies. Thud. The basket dropped to the ground. The carrots inside bounced out, scattering everywhere. She squatted down on the ground and burst into tears. Only then did she understand that I had asked her to dig carrots, not to feed the sheep, but to stew them. She cried so heartbrokenly that even He-chun couldn't console her. It left me extremely awkward too. These sheep were originally bought to treat them, but there had been too much wild game recently, so we never got around to eating them. Now that they were both leaving, not slaughtering them would defeat the purpose of buying them. Suppressing my laughter, I squatted beside her and comforted her. They've gone to heaven now. Please accept my condolences and try not to be too sad. Woo-woo. Li Yinshi was still crying loudly. Cough, cough. Yinshi, all good things must come to an end. I know you're in pain right now, but don't be too upset because they cough. Although they're gone, they will live on forever in our hearts. Ha, cough, cough. They'll be fine over there, and they certainly wouldn't want to see you so sad. Are you trying to laugh? No, I'm in great pain right now. Li Yinshi looked at me resentfully and said, Li Pingyan, you're really cold-blooded. Jessica and Mao Mao were so cute. How could you do it? You're just a cold, heartless butcher. I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you in my life. Jessica and Mao Mao were the names Li Yinshi had given the two sheep. I'm sorry, Sai. This Jessica, Li Yinshi yelled. Oh, Jessica and Mao Mao. Yinshi, I truly know I was wrong. I've wronged Jessica and Mao Mao. I will never forget these two names. I want to give them the highest funeral rites. Li Yinshi looked at me. I'm going to bury them with the carrots you dug yourself. Get lost. Woo-woo. Li Yinshi got up, pushed me over, ran towards her room, and slammed the door shut. Pingyan, I told you not to kill them. She treated these two sheep like treasures, feeding them for 2 months. You just had to slaughter them. Now look, she'll definitely never speak to you again. These sheep were bought to be eaten. Oh wow, she treats them like treasures for 2 months, and then expects me to let them live out their old age. Couldn't you have waited until after we left to slaughter them? Sai, how was I supposed to know she'd react so strongly? Brother Chun, she wouldn't. I said, making a gesture across my neck. TSK, get lost. What nonsense are you talking about? How could that happen? You go ahead and prepare the funeral for Jessica and Mao Mao. I'll go comfort her. I looked at He-chun and smiled. Brother Chun was being cheeky. Okay, I'll cure this Jessica for you. You take her back, and her funeral will be your responsibility. I added before he left. No way. I could take the smoked wild boar, rabbit, and other things, but I wouldn't dare take Jessica. She'd definitely drive me crazy the whole way back. He-chun quickly waved his hands. I stood up, shrugged, sigh, all right then. After saying that, I shouted towards the room again. Yinshi, aren't you coming to observe the ceremony? Hey, stop provoking her. Once we leave later, you'll have peace and quiet, but I'll be the one suffering. He-chun hurriedly stopped me. I chuckled and continued dismembering Mao Mao. He-chun went to comfort Li Yinshi. At noon, a full table laden with a whole sheep feast was placed before Li Yinshi. Li Yinshi glared at me resentfully, stubbornly nibbling on radishes with a pitiful expression, refusing to touch even a single piece of mutton. He-chun and I deliberately made up an excuse to leave, and in the process, we managed to usher everyone else out as well. Only Grandma and my parents remained at the table, though in reality, the rest of us were hiding nearby, secretly watching. I even took out my phone to snap a few stealthy photos. Once Grandma saw we were all gone, she picked up a piece of spicy grilled lamb chop and placed it on Li Yinshi's plate. Li Yinshi sniffed it, tears welling in her eyes as she ate it. This girl had truly grown attached to those two sheep. Grandma then ladled her a small bowl of fish and mutton stew, which Li Yinshi happily devoured. Then, under the covert gaze of all of us, Li Yinshi entered full-on feast mode. This young lady's emotions came and went in the blink of an eye. Once she had eaten her fill, we finally returned to the table. Li Pingyan, you cold-blooded demon, what are you filming? Li Yinshi pointed at me accusingly, her lips glistening with grease. I knew she wouldn't be able to resist, so I had started recording as soon as we stepped outside. Just in case she tried to settle scores with me later, I'd have evidence to defend myself. Just keeping a memento. By the way, why are there so many fewer lamb chops and mutton dumplings? I asked, eyeing the nearly empty dishes on the table in confusion. Li Yinshi immediately tensed up, lowering her head without daring to say a word. Grandma chuckled and quickly smoothed things over, claiming she and my parents had eaten most of it. Seeing Li Yinxi's ears turn bright red, I decided not to tease her further. After the meal, I packed some mutton for them to take on the road. Li Yinxi sat silently in the passenger's seat, not uttering a single word. A few days later, Heechun left for the UK to study abroad. As for me, I got accepted into the top university in the country and headed north. When it was time to leave home, Grandma warned me to keep my distance from Li Yinxi and minimize contact. I didn't understand why. Of course, I hadn't planned on reaching out to her anyway. She was my elder brother's girl. I had to steer clear for propriety's sake. Besides, in the past month, not only had we not spoken on the phone, we hadn't even exchanged a single WeChat message. But why would Grandma say that? Grandma told me Li Yinxi had feelings for me. What the hell? She hated my guts. How could she possibly like me? Grandma sighed meaningfully and said she could tell whether someone liked another person or not. Right now, she's just angry. Once she cools down, she'll definitely come looking for you, Pingin. When a man chases a woman, it's like climbing a mountain. When a woman chases a man, it's like piercing a thin veil. Besides, she's beautiful and rich. I'm not against you two being together, but you have to understand, the class gap between our family and hers is too vast. Differences in family background, relatives, upbringing. These are all insurmountable barriers between you. Love and mutual understanding alone won't be enough. Grandma spoke to me with great patience. Yeah, I know. Don't worry, Grandma. She just enjoys teasing me. There's no way we'd ever be together. Back in our second year of high school, Brother Chen told me their families have deep generational ties. They even had an arranged marriage since childhood. Everyone at school knew about it. Ah, good then. Pingin, you're handsome, studious, and capable. Out there, many excellent girls will like you. But remember, don't aim too high. Find someone whose economic status matches yours. Don't be greedy. Don't fantasize about your partner changing your life. I know. If their family is too wealthy and powerful, I'll always be the lesser one in the relationship. Even if we try to avoid acknowledging it, the gap is still there. And no matter how much we ignore it, external factors will keep interfering. Over time, that kind of dynamic will become unbearable, too sensitive, overreacting to every little thing, growing stubborn, unwilling to accept kindness, twisting reality into some sort of charity. Resentment builds up, cycle after cycle, until one day it explodes. At best, it ends in divorce. At worst, depression. Or even worse, family ruin. Grandma, I understand. I'll keep your words close to my heart. Don't be impatient. You didn't have parents to guide you, and Grandma is old and hasn't seen much of the world. What I say might not be entirely right, but Grandma is telling you these things just so you have some point of reference when you face these situations and make your decisions. I stepped forward, hugged Grandma, and kissed her on the forehead. Grandma, I know, I said. Don't worry. Besides, I have no intention of finding a girlfriend right now. Grandma pushed me away, tapped my forehead, and said with some annoyance, You're already 20. Grandma is desperate to hold a great-grandchild. Hurry up and find someone in university. Get married right after graduation. Don't wait until Grandma goes to join your grandpa. I wouldn't even know how to face him. Grandma, what nonsense are you talking about? You're so healthy and strong. Living another 100 years won't be a problem. Wouldn't that make me an old demoness then? I quickly knelt on one knee, cupped my hands in respect, and declared, Grandson pays homage to Grandma. It was mimicking a scene from Journey to the West, paying respects to the old demoness. Seeing this, Grandma laughed and playfully scolded me. The day before I left, Li Yinxi sent me a message asking about some enrollment matters and whether I needed any help. Looking at her message gave me a headache. Could be true, like Grandma said, that she actually likes me, but I thought it was impossible. What could she possibly see in me? My foolish dad, neurotic mom, me being dirt poor, and having a very old grandma? If she married me, wouldn't she become a complete laughingstock in her social circle? Besides, she and He-chun have arranged childhood engagement. Big brother He-chun takes such good care of me. How could I possibly steal his woman? Impossible. I can never do something like that. So, I didn't reply to Li Yinxi's message. Before leaving, I gave some money to my great-uncle, asking him and great-aunt to look after my grandma. I told Grandma that once I was settled in Beijing, I would come back to get her. My grandma just smiled and nodded. After starting university, I was very busy. He-chen's father thought highly of me and had me help him set up an office in Beijing, acting as a liaison. Actually, I knew he was aware of my family situation. So he offered me this part-time job, not only to give me experience, but also to let me earn a salary. Beyond that, I was also researching drone technology on my own. Why drones? It was entirely because He-chun had mentioned an idea while hunting. If only there was a small, unmanned helicopter that could remotely target prey, we wouldn't have to run all over the mountains. So I wanted to build one. There were remote-controlled airplanes on the market already, but their functions were very basic, hardly different from children's toys. Li Yinxi's messages became more and more frequent, but I never replied to a single one. Seeing her increasingly insistent messages, I had a feeling she was about to call me. I immediately turned off my phone, and then went so far as to cancel the number entirely and register a new one for Beijing. I was so cautious, I didn't even tell He-chun. He was abroad anyway, and we only communicated via email. However, the manager from He Corporation headquarters who liaised with me did inform He-chun. As for whether He-dad personally had my number, that wasn't important at all. He's the chairman. He wouldn't possibly need to personally handle minor liaison matters. Besides, the company's administration is handled by the CEO. He wouldn't need to be personally involved. I just needed to pay him a visit when I went back to maintain the relationship. As for high school classmates, besides He-chun, did I even have any other high school classmates? During the second semester of my freshman year, I applied to the university to start a drone research project. He-chun had also been very busy these past couple of years, and we rarely communicated. Strangely, though, his emails would flood in during winter and summer breaks, full of random gossip. He was always asking if there were any beautiful girls at our university, asking if I liked anyone, if any girls were pursuing me, or if any had written me love letters. They say Europeans are open-minded, but I never would have guessed that after just 6 months in the UK, He-chun would have become so assimilated. The composed and calm He-chun from before was gone. But Big Brother had doubts, and as his little brother, of course, I had to answer them. Besides, quite a few girls did like me. Right after I started freshman year, some girls secretly wrote me love letters. After all, I had hung out with a true young master like He-chun for 3 years. I knew everything about going out, and crucially, I drove a Wrangler. Of course, the most crucial part was that they didn't know my family background, nor my past in high school. Now, my clothes, car, knowledge, and internship all hinted at a superior family background. So in their eyes, I was a good man worth entrusting their lives to. When I had time, I told He-chun all of this in great detail. I even faxed him the love letters others had written to me. He told me that school romances were unreliable, that graduation season was breakup season, and he gave many examples. I thought he was absolutely right and agreed with his views. And I also told him I was very busy with no time for romance because I was busy developing unmanned aerial vehicles. As for those love letters, I read them but didn't reply. I copied down some of the good sentences to use when I write love letters in the future. During my sophomore year, He-chun suddenly came to my school to find me. He looked at my drone development data reports and drone models and was particularly interested. He even called his dad and Li Yinxi's dad over to investigate. His dad invested $5 million in me, and he personally helped me establish this research project at the university. With the addition of capital, many professors from this research field were brought in to participate, and the early technology advanced by leaps and bounds. The drone could already hover automatically in the air without manual operation and was equipped with a photo-taking function. However, each unit cost as much as $50,000. Few people bought them, and not even 20 units were sold per month. At the start of my junior year, I saw Li Yinxi at the welcome party for new students. I was puzzled. Shouldn't she have gotten into university last year? I didn't know if she had repeated a year or taken a gap year. But she was still quite impressive, managing to get into the top university in the country, filled with top students everywhere. I didn't pay much attention to her. In the second semester of my junior year, He-chun's dad added another $25 million, registered a company for me, and applied for a trademark. As the investor, he took 30% of the shares, while I, as the founder, held 70%. This was pretty much the standard level. The He family didn't bully me because I had no power or influence. Besides, the current technology was entirely built upon the $5 million He-chun's dad had given earlier. Otherwise, at the current pace, if I had done it myself, it would have been delayed by at least 3 to 5 years. Most importantly, with the He family's significant capital injection, I wouldn't need further financing or new partners later on. I could maintain actual control over the 70% without worrying about dilution and wouldn't be kicked out even if the company went public. There was a small episode in all this. When I saw the actual list of investors, I found that the investor wasn't Hee-chen's dad, but Hee-chun and Lee-yin-chi. It stated that Hee-chun contributed $20 million for 20% equity, and Lee-yin-chi contributed $10 million for 10% equity. But considering the relationship between the He and Lee families, I felt relieved. Besides, Lee-yin-chi wasn't an outsider. Hee-chen's dad only had one requirement for me: upgrade the product and lower the costs. As for sales and promotion, he and the Lee family would handle it. Wow, suddenly I felt that 30% was too little, huh? I hadn't expected Lee-yin-chi to actually become my backer too. However, in my eyes, she and Hee-chun were family. They were destined for an arranged marriage. So although on the surface there were two investors, to me, it was effectively one person, my big brother Hee-chun. During the summer break at the end of my junior year, Hee-chun invited me to the UK. He had found several top experts in the drone field and hoped I would bring my team over to study intelligent flight control chips. To reduce costs, the only option was to focus on the smart flight control chip. But this technology couldn't be solved by just throwing money at it. So I immediately flew over with my team, planning for a month-long exchange program. Unexpectedly, when I arrived in the UK, apart from Hee-chun, Lee-yin-chi was also there to pick me up. Lee-yin-chi immediately reached for the suitcase I was pushing. Subtly, I switched to pushing another suitcase, deftly avoiding her. Then I enthusiastically hugged Hee-chun with my free hand. After that, I gave Lee-yin-chi an awkward smile before turning to chat with Hee-chun. As we walked, I deliberately kept my distance from Lee-yin-chi, always ensuring Hee-chun stayed between us. Suddenly, Lee-yin-chi gave me a look like she wanted to devour me. How absurd. What's our relationship, anyway? Acting so familiar out of nowhere, and at the same school, too. What's my big bro supposed to think of me? I suddenly felt like snapping at her. Oh, with Chin around, you think you've got the upper hand again? That would have indirectly clarified our relationship, but in the end, I held back. During her first year at school, we barely interacted. If we bumped into each other, I'd just nod and smile. Sometimes she'd respond, sometimes not. Besides, I was swamped with work back then. I didn't even have time to visit home during holidays. Even during New Year, I'd rush back just to see my grandma and parents, pay respects at my grandpa's grave, visit Hee-chen's parents, and then hurry back to campus. With Hee-chen gone, plus grandma's warning that Lee-yin-chi liked me, I made extra sure to keep my distance. Hee-chen arranged for our team to stay in an elegant villa. His dad had bought it for him before he came to the UK, spacious with a big yard, a huge living room, and over 10 rooms. It was also conveniently close to the city center, right by the Thames. I bet this place cost a fortune. Only someone with Hee-chen's background could afford it. What's more, I noticed not only did Lee-yin-chi have her own room here, but traces of her life were everywhere. I figured they must be living together. Honestly, I envied them. Childhood sweethearts from equally well-off families, a love story that transitioned from campus to marriage, their social circles overlapping so much that trust came naturally, with no room for suspicion. Over the next few days, we spent most of our time at Hee-chen's university. What annoyed me was how Lee-yin-chi kept sticking close to me. Bro's right there. How am I supposed to handle this? And the more I avoided her, the bolder she became. It was nerve-wracking. Then, out of nowhere, Lee-yin-chi switched tactics and started targeting me at every turn. The villa had a housekeeper, yet every night, she'd order me around, even making me do her laundry. She didn't care at all about my dignity in front of my teammates. Once, while I was using the toilet, she barged in and snatched the toilet paper. Wow, zero shame, and so damn petty. Now, I not only lock the bathroom door when I'm using it, I even lock it when I shower. I'm terrified she'll storm in mid-shower and take all my toiletries and clothes. Dude, Chun, aren't you going to rein her in? I was taking a dump, and she just charged in and stole my toilet paper, mid-dump. Finally fed up, I pulled Hee-chin aside into an empty meeting room to vent. Come on, she's just. Why do you keep avoiding her? Back when she started uni, she texted you so many times, And you never replied, Hee-chun said awkwardly, shrugging helplessly. I stared at him in disbelief. Bro, what's that supposed to mean? You want me to hug your wife instead of keeping my distance? Of course, I didn't say that. Instead, I explained, I changed my number back then. And she's a girl. What was I supposed to say to her anyway? You can tell her. Whether you contact her is one thing, but whether she contacts you is another, Hee-chun complained. Hearing this, I felt Hee-chun was still too naive when it came to relationships. Luckily, my principal as his brother was never to hit on my buddy's girl. Me and her. Sigh, didn't I say hi to her at school? After saying that, feeling we couldn't continue this topic, I hurriedly changed the subject. Chingu, you have to talk to her for me. This situation with her is really going to be the death of me. Pingin, can't you really see it? Hee-chun asked speechlessly. Damn, see what? Why I see is that I got rid of her beloved Jessica and Mao Mao 3 years ago, and now she's dragging you along to get revenge on me. You really? Damn. Sigh. She told me not to say anything. Suit yourselves. I can't control her. I knew it. Since you can't control Lianxi, then I'd better go stay in your school dorm. If this goes on, I'm really afraid that one day while I'm showering, she'll just barge in too. I needed to give Chungu a heads up about this. Lest it actually happened, I'd have a hard time explaining it to him. After all, Lianxi is his future wife. His wife barging into his brother's bathroom. I wouldn't even know how to explain it then. I really can't control her, and you can't stay in my dorm either. If she finds out, she'll definitely come looking for trouble with me, Hee-chun said, looking troubled as well. Then how about this? Rent another apartment for me nearby. I'm not staying here anymore. I'm really not staying here. I continued pleading. Li Pingyan, you think I want you here? Let me tell you, from the very beginning, I've hated you, really hated you. Li Yinshi yelled from behind. Damn, this girl appears out of nowhere. Yinshi, as far as I know, I haven't offended you in the past 3 years, right? Why are you messing with me like this? I'm using the toilet, and you, a girl, barge in and snatch my toilet paper. If word of this gets out, just think, do you still want your reputation? I said, looking at her, my words carrying a hint of threat, hoping she would back off a bit. So what? Don't you like pretending you don't know me? Then just act like you do at school. Just pretend you don't see me, Li Yinshi said, blinking her big eyes at me, completely ignoring the point of my words, acting as if it were perfectly natural. How the hell is that the same? Besides, do you know how beautiful you are? If we're seen too close together, I'm afraid people will get the wrong idea. The wrong idea? You think of that great? Great enough that people would mistake me for being with you? No, the truth is, your circle is just too low. Wow, I was a bit pissed off by her. Great enough that people would mistake me for being with her? How could she even say something like that? I took a deep breath, let it out, and said, True, I'm indeed not good enough for someone as outstanding as you. Chingu, that Miss Ma from Alibaba is quite good-looking, and her family background is good too. She's asked me out a few times. Maybe I should give it a try when I get back. What if it works out? Wouldn't my net worth shoot up by hundreds of billions of US dollars? I deliberately emphasized the words hundreds of billions of US dollars. Although her Li family's net worth is in the hundreds of billions, it's not in US dollars. Li Yinshi became visibly furious, ran over and kicked me, yelling loudly. Li Pingyan, let me tell you from the very beginning, I've hated you, really hated you. That kick really hurt. I quickly asked weakly, so I should leave then? Fine, then give back the money. 30 million. I'm pulling my investment, Li Yinshi said, holding out her hand towards me. Hearing this, I even forgot the pain, staring at her somewhat blankly. How do we get on to pulling investments again? Pay up. She pushed me onto the sofa, leaned over, grabbed my collar with one hand, and thrust her other palm open almost right in my face as she spoke. I looked innocently at Hee-chun. This look had two meanings. First, the situation felt a bit intimate, but I was the passive one. Second, of course, was a plea for help. Hee-chun glanced at me, calmly took out his phone. Why is it on silent? Then he put the phone to his ear. Hello? What? Oh, coming. He kept talking as he walked towards the door, and then he was gone. Holy crap. This was the first time I thought Big Bro was such a coward. His own woman was practically crawling onto another man, and he pretended not to see. Big Bro was useless. Since I couldn't count on him, I had to save myself. Yinshi, The 30 million has already become registered capital. According to the company law, company shareholders cannot withdraw their capital. Unauthorized withdrawal is considered illicit withdrawal of capital, which is illegal. I don't care. Even if it's illegal, I'm withdrawing my investment. She leaned over me, speaking condescendingly from above. Breaking the law means going to jail. I'll withdraw even if I go to jail. Who asked you to always bully me? I haven't. When did I ever bully you? You just did. You killed my Jack and Duo. Weren't they Jessica and Mau Mau? Before I could finish, Lianchi pinched my chest. I've renamed them. They're called Jack and Duo now. Anyway, you got rid of them, so I want revenge. Give me back the money now, or you're dead meat. She glared fiercely at me as she spoke. She forgot the names of the two sheep, and she still talks about revenge? She was clearly just looking for trouble. Besides, withdrawing the capital was impossible. Neither the He family nor the Lee family would do such a thing. It wasn't legal. But this young lady in front of me wanted to cause a scene, and I had no choice but to find a way to appease her. Even if I told Uncle He would definitely tell me to find a way to coax her. It would end up back with me anyway, so I might as well handle it myself. So I asked helplessly, "Tell me, what do you want me to do so you'll stop making trouble?" You said it. Lianchi instantly dropped the fierce expression and said, beaming with joy, "Yeah, right. Just state your demands. I'll meet them all." I pushed her away as I spoke. She got up and stood straight. "I want you to be my lackey at school." Miss Lee, give me a break. I'm very busy." I hastily refused. Hearing this, Lianchi immediately crossed her arms, pouted, and said, "I don't care. Then withdraw your capital." I slumped onto the sofa, throwing in the towel. She was so persistent, making me her lackey? How was I supposed to do my research? If she withdrew the capital, it just meant product development would take longer. Making me her lackey was no different from forcing me to stop my research altogether. Lianchi was furious. She lunged forward, straddled me, and was about to hit me. Wow, this woman was savage and violent. Straddling a man, she not only had no sense of boundaries, but also didn't care about her image at all. I really found it hard to imagine what life would be like after Heechin married her. Sigh, utter chaos. Those are the only words I could think of for now. I grabbed her, flipped over, and pinned her onto the sofa, restraining her hands and holding her down with my knees. "Li Pingyan, you're dead meat. Let me go." Pinned beneath me, Lianchi still snapped fiercely. "I agreed to be your lackey during the time outside of work and sleep," I said. "Okay, but I get to decide when you sleep." "No way. I have to guarantee sufficient sleep. Otherwise, I won't have the energy to finish my work." "Then you'll just sleep right after work? What the hell kind of lackey is that? How about weekends? On weekends, I'll be your lackey for the whole day. Isn't that enough?" Lianchi thought for a moment and asked, "Every weekend?" All right, deal. Let go of me." I released her. She happily found paper and pen, wanting me to sign an agreement with her. If I breached it, I would have to pay her 30 million. I watched her with a blank expression the entire time as she thought and drafted the agreement. Damn it, I really wanted to lose my temper. "Look at this crap," she wrote. "Whereas Party A has work commitments, Party B hereby agrees not to interfere with Party A's work and guarantees Party A at least 8 hours of sufficient sleep daily. However, all time outside of work must be controlled by Party B. Weekends and holidays must be spent entirely with Party B. Party A must not use making money or being busy with work as a reason not to initiate contact with Party B. Party A, regardless of location, must proactively check in with Party B every morning, noon, and night. Contact can be via phone call, text message, QQ, or WeChat. Party A must remember Party B's birthday, as well as all of Party B's hobbies and habits. Party A must unconditionally respect Party B, must be considerate and caring towards Party B, and take good care of Party B. When Party B needs Party A, unless there are special circumstances, Party A must accompany Party B. If Party A has special circumstances, Party A must inform Party B of the reason. If Party B disagrees, Party A must find a way to resolve the issue. If the resolution is unsuccessful or unsatisfactory to Party B, Party A must compensate Party B double. Lianchi thought while writing, wrote for more than half an hour. I secretly took a photo of what she wrote and sent it to Hee-chan with a message. Chin-gu, come save me quick. She's making me sign an indenture agreement. For a long time, Hee-chan didn't reply. I sent another message. Hurry. Suddenly, a red exclamation mark appeared on the screen. He blocked me? Fuck. At this moment, Li Yinchi added the final clause to the agreement. Party B may add to or modify the terms of this agreement at any time. May I ask, what's the difference between this agreement and selling myself? Did I cross the ocean just to come here and sign this indenture contract? Although it genuinely didn't affect my studies or work, all my damn free time was completely dictated by her. And with this last clause, what's to stop her from changing the agreement again after I sign? I took the pen and crossed out the last clause. If she agreed, I'd sign. If not, I couldn't be bothered to play house with her anymore. Seeing my defiant resignation, Li Yinchi finally compromised. I had originally planned to wait for Hee-chan to come back that evening, give him a piece of my mind, and ask him why he lacked loyalty. But after that, I never saw him again. He didn't answer his phone either. Fortunately, we had been in contact with these experts for so long and were very familiar with the lab, so not having Hee-chan around didn't affect us much. As for Li Yinchi, the torment I had imagined never materialized. Instead, ever since signing the agreement, she stopped constantly targeting me. How strange. Was it because I had stopped deliberately avoiding her? If I'd known it would be like this, you should have just said so. It made me sign an agreement for nothing, saddled with a 30 million liability. What regret? During the last 3 days before returning to China, the exchange program was almost over, so I took the team and Li Yinchi sightseeing around the UK. We also bought gifts for the school administrators. On the day we left, Hee-chan appeared. I looked at him haughtily. He knew he was in the wrong, didn't say much else, just asked me to take good care of Li Yinchi back at school. I snatched his phone directly and unblocked myself from his blacklist. I sent him the indenture contract I'd signed with Li Yinchi. He whispered to me, "Don't worry, I'll back you up." Like hell I believe you, you old fox. With that reply, I raised my hand in a wave without looking back and walked through the security check. After returning to China, I went back to my hometown and stayed for over a week. Even before the semester started, I had to return to school early. At school, I wasn't just a student, I was also the student union president. Besides studying and research, I had many things to do. I was truly very, very busy. There were quite a few girls pursuing me, but I really had no time for romance. Xia Xiaofan, a student in my year and the head of the student union's secretariat department, had been pursuing me for 2 years. Among my many admirers, she was the most beautiful. She could sing, dance, and was eloquent. Crucially, not only was she good at her studies, but she also had excellent coordination skills, a natural-born secretary. She helped me shoulder much of the student union's work, alleviating a lot of my pressure. Actually, I didn't really need to be this president at all, but I knew very well the prestige of being the student union president at Huaxia First University. I also knew clearly the influence behind the teachers and professors at the school. So, even if it meant going through mountains of knives and seas of fire, I had to be this president. Actually, the He family's influence played a part in me becoming president. Because since my freshman year, I had been the liaison for the He group's Beijing office, which many people at school knew. My university is the top one in the country. Unlike other universities, many students start internships in their freshman or sophomore years. This is registered with the school, except I was leagues ahead of everyone else. Not to mention my internship unit, especially being the person in charge of an office equivalent to a deputy manager level, with a salary close to $200,000 a year. Moreover, when Dad helped me apply for the drone research project, he also put in a good word for me. Coupled with my own excellence, I became the student union president in my junior year without any suspense. After arriving at school, I didn't go directly to my dorm. Instead, I brought gifts to visit the various university higher-ups. These gifts cost me close to 100,000 yuan, but the money was all drawn from the official account. I was busy until the evening. I originally planned to go back to my dorm and just have some instant noodles, but as I passed the student union office, I found Xia Xiaofan working there. Hey, Xiaofan. I knew she had also come back early and was working this late. She was definitely helping me organize my work, just like in previous years. When the time came, I would only need to look at the small notebook she provided to easily arrange everything, because she would summarize and categorize everything using the most concise language, writing it all down in that little notebook. If I had any questions, I just needed to check the original documents according to the index number she provided. This secretary is really thoughtful. It reminds me of a saying, when there's work, the secretary does it. When there's no work, you do the secretary. Ha! Ping in. Xiaofan looked up, saw it was me, and immediately jumped up excitedly, running over to me. She held out her hands, blinking her big eyes as she looked at me. I immediately felt a headache coming on. I had told her I'd bring her a gift back from the UK. But turns out, my mind was full of the leaders, and I had completely forgotten about her. Haha, I didn't know you were here. I don't have it with me. I lied, planning to buy her a gift first thing tomorrow morning. Wow, you really bought me a gift. Let's go, I want it now. Xiaofan looked at me in disbelief, her excitement making me feel very guilty. Taking small, quick steps, she linked her arm through mine and started pulling me outside. Shit. Speechless, I led her to the parking lot, opened the trunk, rummaged around for a bit, and then gave her a Parker pen that Li Yinchi had given me. The pen was packaged in a wooden box. It looked exquisite. I had never opened it, but judging by the appearance, I knew it must cost at least 10,000 yuan, especially since it came from Li Yinchi. Xiaofan took the gift box, her excitement palpable. She opened it right in front of me, took it out, examined it carefully, and then read aloud. May you cap your pen, converse lightly like the breeze, and remain safe and sound, Pinyin. Huh, there's writing on it? I quickly sneaked a peek at the words on the pen in her hand. Thankfully, there was no signature or sender's name. Otherwise, it would have been embarrassing. Thank you. Xiaofan cradled the pen, her eyes curving into crescents as she spoke to me. I smiled. You're worth it. Come on, let's go get something to eat. She really was worth it. I don't know how many times I'd wished she could postpone graduation for a year, waiting until after I finished my term. After all, this secretary was just too good. She nodded obediently. Seeing me close the trunk and get into the driver's seat, she then also got into the passenger seat, carrying the pen gift box. Then, she took out a pair of exquisite wooden charms from her bag and carefully hung them in my car. As she hung them, she said, "This is my return gift for you. They are great fortune and peace charms I made myself. The silver threads on them were inlaid by me, strand by strand, by hand. I polished them hundreds of times. Look at my hand." She held out a hand for me to see. There really were many small cuts. I was somewhat moved. After finishing them, I went to the temple and waited in line all night to get the first incense offering and asked the abbot to bless them. Remember, absolutely do not take them down. Wow, thank you so much. I'm so moved. It fell. Suddenly, Xiaofan cried out in alarm. The charm she was holding with her other hand had fallen. I quickly leaned forward, intending to help pick it up. She seized the opportunity to reach out, wrap her arms around my neck, and kiss me on the mouth. Fuck, I just got forcibly kissed by a woman. Holy shit. Tongue. Saliva. Disgusting. My gut reaction was strong. I shoved Xiaofan away. I quickly pulled out tissues, spat, wiped my mouth, then found some bottled water to rinse my mouth. I'm very particular about these things. Xiaofan watched me the whole time, somewhat stunned. After my flurry of activity, I finally remembered the beautiful woman in the passenger seat. I felt a bit awkward. I really wasn't disgusted by her. I just genuinely despise saliva. You're disgusted by me? Well, kissing is one thing, but don't use your tongue. There's so much saliva that way. You're afraid of my saliva? Of course. Who isn't grossed out by other people's saliva? Holy shit. Under my gaze, Xiaofan also awkwardly pulled out a tissue and wiped her mouth. I know you're a steel straight man, but I never imagined you were practically rebar. No wonder when I used to offer you drinks or milk I'd already sipped from, you'd always throw them away. So you were actually fucking disgusted by my saliva all along. Saliva. Don't you find it disgusting? You don't find it disgusting if it's someone you like. Well, I can't do that. Even with food my grandma has eaten from, I'll break off a piece before eating it. Hearing this, Xiaofan looked at me, her face etched with hurt. I looked back at her, my gaze as firm as if I were pledging to join the party. This was my unshakable principle, lest she try this kind of disgusting surprise attack again. After 3 minutes of silent staring, Xia Xiaofan averted her gaze, looked straight ahead, and said, "Pingyan, let's date?" "No." I refused without hesitation. Hearing this, Xia Xiaofan turned her head back to look at me and asked, "Are you not satisfied with me? Or do you think I'm not pretty enough?" "No, I'm satisfied with you, and I do think you're very pretty." "Then why won't you date me?" "It's too much trouble." "You find me troublesome?" "No, I don't find you troublesome. I just think having a breakup when graduation comes around is too much hassle. It's better not to date at all. Besides, we only have 1 year left until graduation. Wouldn't it be better to use this year to learn more knowledge and do something meaningful? Why bother with dating? Isn't that just a pure waste of time?" Although Grandma wants me to find a girlfriend at school and then get married and have kids right after graduation. But I also told her about the theory that graduation season is breakup season, and she agreed after hearing it. Xia Xiaofan looked at me strangely and asked, "Why does graduating necessarily mean breaking up? Everyone says that. Didn't you know?" "I didn't know. Graduation season is breakup season. My roommates are basically all dating this thing." I rattled off a long list of reasons why people break up after graduation. And another thing you don't know, dating itself is incredibly troublesome. You have to consider the other person's feelings, spend time chatting, send greetings morning, noon, and night, remember holidays and their birthday, pick out gifts, and as I was speaking, I suddenly remembered Li Yanqi's agreement. Damn it, I'm doing exactly these things right now, sending those meaningless greetings every morning, noon, and night. And Li Yanqi sometimes replies, sometimes doesn't. Damn. If you really want to date someone, then go date someone else first. I have a pile of troublesome things to deal with right now. No time. If you still want to date me later when I have time, we can see then, figure it out. I refused irritably, but not wanting to offend her, I put it like that. After all, it wouldn't be good to create friction with such a capable right-hand woman over this. Huh. Xia Xiaofan stared at me as if I were a monster. This is the best option for now. Anyway, we know each other so well, we can speak openly. Don't be embarrassed. Everything can be discussed. Discuss my ass. Xia Xiaofan picked up the 2 wooden divination sticks she had received and threw them into my lap, getting out of the car angrily. She slammed the car door shut with a loud bang. "Hey, aren't you coming to eat?" I quickly pressed the power button, lowered the window, and shouted, "Not eating. I'm full for being pissed off by you. Work is work. Don't let this affect work. If you get lost." Xia Xiaofan threw out the word and ran off. Seeing her run far away, I sighed and finished what I hadn't said. If you absolutely must date me, we can only do it in our spare time, just to get a feel for it. I picked up the 2 wooden sticks and hung them up, thinking to myself, forget it, dating is too much trouble. The things in Li Yanqi's agreement are probably just as demanding, if not more so. In high school, juggling 2 masters while also busy with studying was truly exhausting. I really don't want to go through days like that again. Before the semester started, I was very busy organizing and summarizing what I learned in the UK, having meetings every day for discussions and research. After the semester began, I was even busier. The student union also had a ton of things. Fortunately, Xia Xiaofan didn't hold a grudge against me. As always, she took responsibility for the student union tasks that should have been mine. This allowed me to focus wholeheartedly on developing the new drone. Returning from the UK this time, I gained a lot. I found a new research direction. I decided to change the single-rotor helicopters we are currently manufacturing to a quad-rotor power structure. Because quad rotors are simpler, easier to manufacture, fly more stably, and are much more reliable. More critically, the simple mechanical structure means lower production costs and strong product consistency. Now that I had a new direction, the next goal was clear. During this period, I spent almost every day immersed in the lab doing design research. There were fewer classes in the 4th year, mostly electives. Because the 4th-year seniors were busy preparing for internships, traveling all over with their advisors, or holed up in labs like me, very few were actually on campus. As for me, I already had a part-time position at the Heat Group, so I didn't need another internship. Besides, I also had my own company and projects I was leading. Moreover, my term as the student union president had already expired. I was just in a transitional phase. After the welcome party, Once the newly elected president takes the stage and I complete the handover, I'll be honorably discharged. Then I won't need to trouble Xia Xiaofan anymore. As for Li Yinxi, I had long gotten used to sending her 3 greeting messages at fixed times, morning, noon, and night. No matter how busy I was, I never missed one. Of course, the last thing I wanted was for her to reply. After the welcome party ended, the student union officer elections began. After the elections, the student union organized a farewell party for the handover between old and new members. Urged by Xia Xiaofan's phone calls, I had to stop what I was doing, pick up Li Yinxi, and head to the hotel. Li Yinxi had joined the student union this year too. But this Li Yinxi, I don't know what's gotten into her these past couple days. She'd get angry if my texts were even a few seconds late, and now, meeting in person, she was constantly finding fault. When I asked her what was wrong, she wouldn't say. At the reception, after the new president and I went on stage to give speeches, Xia Xiaofan was the last one on stage. Once up there, she unexpectedly announced on the spot that she and I were dating. Holy crap, a unilateral announcement. The farewell party had barely started, and it had already hit its climax. After all, I was considered the most outstanding and well-connected hotshot among the students. Suddenly being revealed to be dating. Wouldn't you call that explosive news? Xia Xiaofan came down, took my hand, led me back on stage, and kissed my cheek in front of everyone. I didn't refuse. I wasn't averse to her. Anyway, as long as she didn't get spit on my face, it was fine. She leaned her face close to mine, gesturing for me to kiss her. The crowd below started egging us on, so I gave her a peck. Being in a relationship was actually acceptable. The crowd below kept jeering, saying it wasn't enough, demanding a proper kiss, lip to lip. Sigh. I was caught in a bind. Apprehensively, I pressed my lips to hers. I was terrified she'd stick her tongue in. Thankfully, she didn't. Of course, this sealed the deal on our relationship status. As for Xia Xiaofan, I actually quite liked her. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also incredibly capable, very serious, and responsible. Partnering with her this past year had been exceptionally smooth and pleasant. If we didn't break up after graduation, marrying her would actually be quite nice. Though not from the countryside, she was just from a small county town. Her family background was a bit better than mine, but my family owned land, so you could say we were well matched. Besides, she was genuinely diligent and hardworking. I figured with her around, I'd have much less to worry about, both regarding home and work. Li Yinxi stared at me the whole time, expressionless. I knew she'd been in a bad mood these past 2 days. Once the commotion had mostly died down, I led Xia Xiaofan back to our table. Li Yinxi asked quietly, "Since when?" I thought for a moment and replied, "Since the day I arrived at school, I suppose." "Why the I suppose?" Li Yinxi pressed. "We kissed that day." Li Yinxi said no more. Xia Xiaofan didn't ask who she was. I guess she probably knew her from the student union. She simply linked her arm in mine and toasted Li Yinxi. Li Yinxi didn't respond, so I drank it for her. Both being from prominent families, Li Yinxi fell short of He-chun in many aspects. That's my honest opinion. People then started coming over continuously to toast Xia Xiaofan and me, making us feel like a real married couple. I don't know when Li Yinxi left. I had had too much to drink and didn't pay her any mind. After dinner, a second event was organized, a karaoke session. By the time it ended, I was dead drunk. Xia Xiaofan got a room and had a few male classmates help me into it. But even though I was completely drunk, I still insisted on going back to the dorm. But Xia Xiaofan didn't comply, lying that we were already back at the dorm. In truth, I could tell whether or not we were in the dorm. We're boyfriend and girlfriend now. Sleeping with me. Are you actually afraid I'll devour you? Xia Xiaofan said with some frustration as she wiped my face. My grandmother used to say, physical contact between unrelated men and women is improper. It is a matter of propriety. With my eyes closed, I mumbled as I pulled out my phone and dialed a number. I still hadn't sent a nightly greeting to Li Yinxi. Even though I was dead drunk, I still hadn't forgotten about this. It wasn't because I was afraid of losing 30 million, but because I have a strong sense of contractual obligation. Of course, in my current state, typing was definitely out of the question, so I figured I might as well just call her directly. Just then, the water boiled. Xia Xiaofan got up, washed a cup, got some tea leaves, and brewed a large cup of strong tea for me. Pinyin, we're a couple. Couples can sleep together. She said this while making tea at the small table. No way. We're not married yet, so we can't sleep together. My grandma said that both men and women should save their chastity for their wedding night. Only this kind of dedication is the purest promise and vow to love. Only this kind of pure, reserved love is the most beautiful, infinitely captivating, and sacred and inviolable. As I spoke, I felt like throwing up. I quickly dropped my phone, leaned over the side of the bed, grabbed the trash can, and started vomiting. It took Xiao good while to come over and support me. After taking care of me, she took the trash bag with my vomit out. A few minutes later, she returned and put a new liner in the trash can. Then she said to me, "The tea in the cup is hot. If you want to drink now, drink the bottled mineral water. I'm leaving now, or the school gates will be locked soon. Call me if you need anything. I'll bring you breakfast tomorrow morning." Thanks, I replied. I can't be bothered with a feudal relic like you." With that, Xia Xiaofan left. After Xia Xiaofan left, as I drifted in and out of sleep, I felt a cool sensation on my body, like someone was wiping me down to cool me off. I thought I was dreaming. In the morning, my mouth was dry. I woke up wanting water. I felt an octopus on me. Didn't Xia Xiaofan leave last night? How did she come back? Sigh, I made it very clear last night. I really don't want to have sex before marriage. It's a matter of responsibility, for her and for me. And I really agree with my grandma's words. It's a form of respect for the marriage. After all, who knows if the person you marry will be the same person you're with now? I felt it was necessary to reiterate this to her when she woke up. After all, I'm a man. If she keeps doing this, I honestly don't know if I can control myself. I gently tried to pry her off me to get up, but the girl was clinging on tightly, and as soon as I touched her hand, she reflexively held onto me even tighter. Speechless, I carefully tried to peel her off again. She rolled over onto her back. Holy shit. Li Yinxi? It's actually Li Yinxi? What the hell? How could it be Li Yinxi? In an instant, it felt like my soul had been scared right out of my fucking body. I'm dead. How am I going to explain this to Brother Chun? I carefully got out of bed and saw that I wasn't wearing my clothes from yesterday, but hotel pajamas. I could fucking cry. Last night, I dreamed someone was wiping my body. It must have been her. I immediately scanned the room, looking for my clothes. Not here. Bathroom? Not here. Under the bed? Not here. Holy shit, where are my clothes? For crying out loud, lady, are you trying to kill me? Li Yinxi slowly woke up, pulled the covers over her head, leaving only her two eyes looking innocently at me. What the fuck is that look supposed to mean? Tell me, why are you here? I didn't want to beat around the bush with this crazy woman, so I asked directly in a low voice. Your girlfriend left you here all alone. I was worried about you. Who knew? Know what, my ass? Tell me, how did you find this place? I didn't want to waste a single breath on nonsense with her. Li Pingyan, you yelled at me. Let me tell you, you're dead meat today. Li Yinxi ripped the covers off, sat up, and pointed an accusing finger right at me. She was also in pajamas, clearly braless underneath, revealing quite a bit. I quickly turned my head away, avoiding the sight. She suddenly realized her state of undress, blushed furiously, quickly lay back down, and pulled the covers back up to where they were. I remembered calling her last night, but hadn't it failed to connect? I grabbed my phone from the bedside table and checked the call log. It showed a call duration of nearly an hour. I think I figured it out. Last night, I called her, and she must have answered instantly. That's why I didn't hear any ringing and thought it hadn't gone through. Then later, I threw up and completely forgot about the call. So, she must have overheard my entire conversation with Xia Xiaofan. Finding my room wouldn't have been hard. So many classmates were together yesterday, and I wasn't the only drunk one. Many others got rooms here too. She could have just asked around. As for how she got in the room, that wouldn't pose a challenge for her at all. She was going to be the death of me, standing by the bed. Looking at Li Yinxi hiding under the covers with only her eyes showing, I felt like dying myself. Li Yinxi, you're insane. I cursed quietly, miserably. I took care of you all night, and this is how you repay me? By cursing me? You could just drop dead. Li Yinxi sat up again, grabbed a pillow, and threw it at me, before immediately pulling the covers back up to her chest. Keep your voice down. Thanks for last night, okay? Now, can you please just get up, get dressed, and leave? I'm begging you, seriously. I caught the pillow, tossed it onto the sofa, and pleaded, I'm not sure when Xia Xiaofan might bring breakfast. Plus, a lot of student council members are staying on this floor too. No, Xia Xiaofan is coming with breakfast. If she sees this, there'll be a misunderstanding. If this blows up, it's going to get really ugly. Misunderstand what? Last night you did that to me. Are you trying to shirk responsibility? Li Yinchi stammered, looking embarrassed. Hearing this, I flared up, glaring at her. That's not a joke you can make. We're adults. There are lines you don't cross, jokes you can and cannot make. That was my absolute bottom line. You scumbag. You've yelled at me twice now. Trying to just walk away after getting what you wanted? Li Yinchi questioned me aggressively. Look, we're both educated people. Alcohol inhibits the central nervous system. When someone's dead drunk, it doesn't heighten arousal. It actually hinders sexual impulses. I probably couldn't even get it up. Damn it. How could I have possibly done that to you? Now, get up and get out of here quickly. Afterwards, you can get back at me however you want. Just stop making these kinds of jokes. I tried coaxing her. I knew Li Yinchi. We bickered all through high school. She always pushed back harder when challenged. Sure enough, hearing my explanation, her aggressive stance deflated. Her voice noticeably softer, she said, But you still slept with me. I've never slept in the same bed with any man before, ever. Anyway, you slept with me, so you have to take responsibility. I didn't answer, just stared at her intently. My stare seemed to unnerve her, and she lay back down again. She retreated under the covers, only her eyes visible, watching me. Damn it, playing the innocent victim again. Li Yinchi, tell me, what exactly did I do to offend you? Snatching my toilet paper in the bathroom was one thing, but now you're bold enough to crawl into a man's bed? Are you really willing to trash your reputation just to mess with me? You gave the pen I gave you to someone else. TSK. Sorry, okay? There's a reason for that. Let me explain. Hearing this, I understood the root of the issue. I quickly and humbly explained the reason why I gave the pen away. I don't want to hear your explanation. Giving away the gift I gave you to someone else is disrespectful to me, she said after hearing my explanation. What the fuck? Damn it. If you didn't want an explanation, why the hell did you wait until I finished speaking to say you didn't want to hear it? I'm sorry I was wrong. I admitted my mistake very readily. Right now, I just wanted to know what she was really up to. Did you sleep in the same bed with me last night? Yes. Then did you take advantage of me and sleep with me? I betrayed your kindness, but we just slept. We didn't sleep together. Fine, you won't admit it. Then I'll call my dad right now and let him handle it. After saying this, Li Yinchi reached for the phone on the nightstand to make a call. Let her call her dad? That would be disastrous. Although I could explain, and so many classmates could testify, I could prove my innocence. But even if I explained and proved it, could the incident just be treated as if it never happened? I slept under the same covers for a night with Brother Chen's future wife. Even if nothing happened, wouldn't Brother Chen feel weird about it? Damn it, this woman was going to be the death of me. With a thud, I dropped straight to my knees, pleading, My lady, you are the great merciful Guanyin Bodhisattva incarnate. I beg you, please spare me. You yelled at me twice this morning. I deserve to die. Please punish me, my lady. Good attitude. I forgive you. That's simple. I couldn't process it for a moment. You can get up now. I quickly and obediently got up. As a reward, I'm upgrading you from my lackey to my boyfriend. Li Yinchi said, always one to make astonishing statements. In that case, I'll just go back to kneeling. Li Pingyan. Li Yinchi roared furiously. Beep beep. Just then, the door buzzer rang twice. I knew Xia Xiaofan had arrived. Fuck. Got together last night, caught cheating this morning. Seriously, who else goes through this? I fucking fainted on the spot. There was no way out. The only option was to play dead. Li Yinchi and Xia Xiaofan started arguing, neither paying any attention to me lying unconscious on the floor. From their argument, I learned that this was already the second time they had fought. The first time was because of that fountain pen. No wonder that at the dinner party yesterday, when Xia Xiaofan saw Li Yinchi sitting next to me, she didn't ask who she was but still wanted to toast her. Li Yinchi didn't drink, and Xia Xiaofan didn't show the slightest bit of anger. So that was a power play. Women are so much trouble. Actually, I never even thought about getting into a relationship. It was all Xia Xiaofan, this woman, who pushed me into it. The commotion got so loud that the floor attendant came. I suddenly got up, and under the stunned gazes of the two women, grabbed my phone and keys, and ran out still wearing my pajamas. If I didn't run then, once those classmates arrived to spectate, my social death would be even quicker. Reaching the underground parking lot, I drove my Wrangler straight to the mall and bought a complete new set of clothes, from underwear to outerwear. Back at school, I sent Xia Xiaofan a text message with the two words, "Break up." Xia Xiaofan replied with two words as well, "Liar." I knew what she meant. She was definitely referring to how I'd said yesterday that everyone, male or female, should save their chastity for their wedding night, or something like that. But as soon as she left, I ended up in bed with another woman. I couldn't be bothered to explain. It was my first relationship ever, lasting less than 24 hours from getting together to breaking up, during which I experienced a dramatic confrontation, cheating, being caught, arguing, breaking up, things that other people might not experience in 10 years of dating. I went through them all in a single morning. Who the hell needs this kind of romance? As for Lianxi, I stopped sending her messages in the morning, noon, and night too. If the deal's off, the deal's off. I wasn't going to put up with her anymore. If she wanted compensation, let her dad come ask for it. I was already past caring anyway. For the next month or so, I didn't leave the research lab, eating and sleeping there. It wasn't until Ichin called, telling me Lianxi had too many suitors, that it was seriously impacting her life and safety. He wanted me to pretend to be her boyfriend to fend them off. What the hell, so damn cliché. Lianxi is lying to you. She is indeed very pretty, and certainly doesn't lack admirers. But where are we? This is the gathering place for the victors of an incredibly fierce competition, Huaxia's #1 university. Did everyone go through hell to get in just to ruin their futures, harassing her? And even if that were true, is this something you ask a brother to help with? Pretending to be your future wife's boyfriend to block her other suitors. How could you even think of such a solution? Brother Chun, you wouldn't happen to be the Hulk, would you? If I were even a little bit of a scumbag, I guarantee I could turn you deep green, Brother Chun. I didn't dare say these things. After all these years, Brother Chun still dotes on Lianxi deep down. I know this. Sigh, I couldn't be bothered to argue it out. I just used having a girlfriend as an excuse to refuse. But Lianxi had already told him I'd broken up. The result was He-chan calling several times a day, begging, seriously disrupting my research and life. No matter how I tried to analyze the situation for him, he just wouldn't listen. He simply insisted he trusted me, that only I could help her. I was completely exasperated. I really wanted to curse him out. Are you really this desperate to push your future wife onto someone else? Helpless, I agreed. I was out of options. The first thing I did upon seeing Lianxi was go with her to get that fountain pen back from Xia Xiaofan. Awkward to the absolute limit. That saying is true. I acted as if my soul was controlled by Lianxi, cooperating like a puppet. I even changed my QQ status. The Li Pingon of the past is dead. Hiss. Connect the dots. People should understand, right? Damn it, I really just want to go back to the countryside. Then, using the excuse that she was scared at night, she insisted I move into her apartment in the professor's residential area and live with her. It was an old-style bungalow with a courtyard, for bedrooms, 2 living rooms, 1 kitchen, and 3 bathrooms. It looked a bit retro on the outside, but the interior decoration was clearly brand new, done before Lianxi moved in. Very grand. It's nice to be rich. However, nice as it was, I absolutely could not live with her. If you're scared, go live in the dorms. Why do you have to live alone? I objected firmly. Li Pingon, don't be shameless when I'm trying to be reasonable. You're my boyfriend. If you don't live with me, it won't look legitimate. Who would believe us? The former student council president successfully confessed to the former secretariat head, then ditched his girlfriend the same night to cheat with a rich sophomore girl. The whole damn school knows about our ridiculous soap opera relationship. How much more legitimate do you need it to be? Lianxi's gaze flickered away for a moment, but she still said firmly, I don't care. Bottom line is, you slept with me. If you don't agree, I'll tell Brother Chen you slept with me. Feeling like life had lost all meaning, I looked at her, then turned and started bending over to pack my things. Don't you dare curse me in your head. Lianxi ran in front of me, bent down, stared into my eyes, and continued. I rolled my eyes at her. You'll face retribution, you know. She continued. What the hell? Psycho. Moving into her house, I took one look. Weren't there fucking two maids here? She lives alone, but needs two people to wait on her, and she claims she's scared? She hastily dismissed the two maids that very day. Damn it, couldn't you have sent them away before I arrived? Did you have to do it like this? Making things so awkward, really? Seeing my expression, she got angry again. She laid down more rules for me than a student handbook with all sorts of punishments. Damn it, am I just here to be your slave? But no matter how many rules you set, if I don't obey, what can you do about it? Go ahead, break up with me if you dare. Hesitating for even a second would be an insult to my nickname, Li Minxing. Grandma taught me since I was little. One dark cloud can't block all the sunshine. One fall won't muddy your entire life. Being a boyfriend to some rich heiress, what's the big deal? Suddenly, an idea popped into my head. The reason Brother Chan is pushing me towards Li Yinchi like this, it couldn't be because he wants to break off the engagement, could it? Li Yinchi is just a psycho, barbaric, unreasonable, and violent. Apart from being pretty, she's practically worthless. Besides, I believe Brother Chun is definitely not the type of shallow person who only cares about looks. What's more, marrying a woman like Li Yinchi home would just mean endless internal strife. Our Brother Chun, a bona fide young master from a wealthy family, how could he possibly marry a woman who would just drain him internally? Besides, their families are pretty evenly matched in power and cooperate closely. If Brother Chun marries her, he wouldn't be able to control her at all. Sigh, sigh, sigh. This sucks. The more I think about it, the more I feel it's true. Otherwise, how could there possibly be someone in this world who pushes his own fiancée towards another man? In that moment, it all clicked. But I can't date Li Yinchi either. Comparing my family background to hers, describing it as the difference between clouds and mud feels like an insult to the phrase itself. Grandma said marriages between families of unequal status are very difficult. Huge differences in lifestyle, attitudes, etc. between the couple will lead to frequent conflicts. And it's not just the couple's values. The parents' values need to align too. Sigh, I'm so screwed. My idiot dad, my neurotic mom, they don't even have proper values. Xiaofan, Funfit, do you still love me? Xia Xiaofan had already completely stopped talking to me, saying she would never forgive me. How long was she my girlfriend? Was it even 4 hours? Seems longer than that. Including the time spent sleeping, it must have been over 12 hours. Damn it, I didn't even do anything, yet I became someone she'll never forgive. Who can I even complain to, right? Don't they say women always mean the opposite of what they say? Should I return the lucky charm she prayed for? If I return it, and she doesn't take it, does that mean there's still a chance? But what should I do about Li Yinchi? Sigh, so annoying. Got myself tangled up with a menace. Still, I decided to go return the lucky charm to test Xia Xiaofan's attitude. If she doesn't take it, then I still have a chance. As long as there's a chance, she'll definitely listen to my explanation. Unfortunately, I found her under the gaze of a crowd of onlookers. Just as I took out the lucky charm, she snatched it away and walked off without looking back. Holy crap, I didn't even get the chance to say her name. In high school, my classmates nicknamed me, translatorly. I spent the first 3 years of university in my prime, but who knew that in my senior year, I become Li Minxing. I only kissed Xia Xiaofan twice, and I've never slept with either of them. How did I become Li Minxing? Li Yinchi, having heard the rumors, actually took me shopping for clothes as a reward. Heh, a consolation prize for my failed attempt at cheating? On the way back, she said her feet hurt. I was all ready to carry her on my back like before, but she wanted to swap shoes with me. She was wearing heels. And like an idiot, I actually agreed. It was absolute torture for me, but she just laughed heartlessly without stopping. Why do you cover your face when you laugh? I asked foolishly. Because I don't think I look good when I laugh. But your hands are ugly too. Li Pingyan. You piss me off. D. Her expression suddenly changed, and she pushed me hard. I went with the push, acting like I'd been shoved really far, then turned back, panting, and said, "Oh dear, I'm back. I just got hit by a car and sent flying." Li Pingyan, I'm not finished with you. She jumped up, about to hit me. Take that. You made me your boyfriend. I'm not going to spoil you. You chose this yourself. Just that I was wearing her high-heeled shoes, so my running looked a bit ridiculous, which ended up amusing her again. Luckily, during the day, she had classes and I had research to do, At night, I'd cook for her, we'd bicker a bit, then each went to sleep. On weekends, I'd accompany her shopping or go out to have fun. Plenty of perks to enjoy. Heh, life turned out better than I expected. Sure, she messed with me too, but her tricks were still a bit too naive in front of me. The most she could do was pick a fight in the open and find excuses to torment me, body and soul. Meanwhile, I usually rubbed her IQ into the ground. Once, during a meal, I took a glass with some ice cubes inside and said to her, "Yinshi, let's make a bet." "Pouting," she eyed me warily. "Tell me the bet first." "I bet you can't get the ice cubes out of this glass using just your tongue." She took the glass, examined it, and asked, "What if I do?" "I'll fulfill one of your perverted wishes." "You said it." My Wort is my Bond." "Deal." Then she started trying to fish out the ice cubes with her tongue. I excused myself to the restroom, found a waitress, and told her, "My girlfriend has a slight IQ issue. I need to use the bathroom for a while. Could you keep an eye on her?" The waitress enthusiastically agreed. Then I hid nearby, recording the scene while secretly watching. The waitress walked over. Li Yinchi was still struggling to lick the ice cubes out. "Sweetie, playing with ice cubes?" Li Yinchi stared at her blankly. "No, I'm just—" The waitress cut her off. "Let Big Sis get you a bigger bowl. This glass is too small. You'll drool all over." Without waiting for a response, she brought a large bowl filled with ice cubes. Embarrassed, Li Yinchi tried to explain she wasn't a kid and didn't need the ice. "Oh, not a kid, but little beauty, right?" the waitress cooed. "You're so pretty. If you don't want the ice, how about Big Sis plays with you for a bit?" Li Yinchi froze, unsure where to put her hands. "Let me sing you a song." The waitress clapped to a rhythm and began singing. In front of the gate, there stands a grapevine, tender and green, just sprouting. The snail carries its heavy shell, climbing up bit by bit. On the tree, two orioles chirp, giggling at it. "The grapes won't ripen for a long time. Why climb up now?" She suddenly stopped and asked, "How does the next part go?" "Ahuang, ahuang." "Orioles, don't laugh. When I reach the top, they'll be ripe." Li Yinchi replied awkwardly. "Wow, sweetie, you're so amazing. Big Sis will reward you with a little gift." The waitress exaggeratedly praised her before pulling out a small toy and handing it to Li Yinchi. Hesitantly, Li Yinchi accepted it. Watching this, I nearly doubled over laughing. When I finally walked over, the waitress cheerfully said to Li Yinchi, "Bye-bye, little beauty. Next time you come to eat, remember to play with Big Sis, okay?" Flustered but polite, Li Yinchi waved back. "Bye-bye." I realized Li Yinchi acted completely different around strangers compared to when she was with me. Just like Chun, the manners and upbringing of an elite family were ingrained in her bones. And just like Chun, in front of me, she'd curse and talk trash without restraint, showing me zero refinement. Still, I had to give props to that waitress's attitude. During the meal, Li Yinchi kept recounting what had just happened. Why would I need her to tell me? I'd already recorded the whole thing. Haha. On the way back, just before reaching the family dormitory gate, she made another bet with me, claiming she could walk exactly 100 steps to get home from there. In the end, she managed to take 99 steps, but was still 200 or 300 meters away from home. I have no idea how she calculated that. Of course, the bet she proposed was impossible for her to lose, because I carried her back for the 100th step. Later, she brought my grandmother out to live with us. My parents, on the other hand, continued staying in a nursing home they had found. Grandma wasn't particularly surprised about me dating Li Yinchi. She'd said it's like crossing a mountain for a man to woo a woman, but only like piercing through gauze for a woman to woo a man. So, she didn't ask anything, nor did she act overly affectionate towards Li Yinchi. Of course, I didn't tell her much either, but she did really like it here. She would often take walks around different parts of the campus. What I didn't expect was that Li Yinchi actually had the patience to accompany her. Our relationship also began to heat up rapidly. It had to heat up. She would climb into my bed in the middle of the night. With Grandma there, I didn't dare cry out loud, afraid of waking her. I also discovered a secret. When Li Yinchi slept, it felt like the whole bed belonged to her, not at all like a well-bred young lady. But even though we were sleeping in the same bed, I still held back. Apart from kissing and hugging, we didn't do anything out of line. In my second year of grad school, our daily life was already like that of an old married couple. Li Pingyan, when are you going to propose to me? Wait until you graduate. Li Pingyan, are you perhaps still thinking about Xia Xiaofan? How could I be? Li Pingyan, let me tell you some good news. Xia Xiaofan got married. Li Pingyan, do you like quiet girls or feisty girls? Your type. Li Pingyan, your new assistant seems quite quiet. I don't like quiet girls. Li Pingyan, I want to eat yang ro, pao, and mo today. I'll make it tonight. Yay. The year I graduated from grad school, my intelligent drone chip research was successful. The He and Li families invested $100 million, diluting 10% of the shares. I didn't even need to look for outside investors to raise funds. It was all handled internally. I immediately started preparing a processing plant, aiming to be able to manufacture all the components for the quadcopter drones independently. Another year passed. Heechin got engaged to a British woman. The He and Li families were still on very harmonious terms. Privately, I asked Heechin, weren't you and Yinchi set up for a childhood betrothal? Heechin looked at me incredulously and said, what the fuck? She's my sister. How could I possibly have a childhood betrothal with her? Get lost. You don't even have the same surname, and you said it yourself back in high school. I frowned and asked, this joke isn't funny at all. Not only are we within the 5 degrees of mourning, we're relatives within 3 generations. How could we have a childhood betrothal? Heechin said firmly. In high school, you said it yourself in front of the whole class. And not just the class, you told many other people too. I demanded. Sigh, we were all just kids back then. Guys chasing girls didn't know any boundaries, and it genuinely threatened Yinchi's safety. I had some standing at school, and I started high school a year before her, so I knew the situation. My family told me to say that precisely to prevent people with ulterior motives from continuing to harass Yinchi. Didn't you notice that even when I said it, the school teachers never called my parents in or criticized or stopped me? Heechin explained, looking at me strangely. You're capitalists. The school wouldn't dare offend you, right? I said, feeling a bit weary. This damn misunderstanding was really harmful. Bullshit. This is a matter of principle. No matter how powerful you are, the school would still call the parents. Wow, you didn't keep your distance from Yinchi all those years because of this, did you? I was speechless. Actually, I knew from the beginning they were relatives. But haven't powerful, established families always valued strengthening ties through marriage, even among relatives? Besides, even in modern times, as long as relatives are beyond 3 generations apart, even if they haven't passed the 5th degree of kinship, they can still marry. I just never expected they were actually within 3 generations. I've had contact with other members of the He and Li families these past 2 years, but I was very busy, and conversations at gatherings were almost always polite formalities. We never delved deep into these relationships. Besides, I felt it would be quite rude to ask about such things. It would make me look like I was trying to cozy up to the powerful and influential, so I never asked, afraid of misunderstandings. Sigh. It's hard to explain. Looks like it's true then. Sigh. Actually, Yinchi liked you back in the 2nd year of high school. She just held back a bit because of the school rumors about you, which is why she took her frustration out on you. But you, damn it, showed her zero courtesy and argued her to tears several times. Seeing my dejected look, Heechan said with understanding, Hey, isn't it all because of you? Who told you to laugh the loudest? I retorted irritably. Hearing this, Heechan pursed his lips, frowned at me, and after a moment said, You don't have a crush on me, do you? I immediately jumped back, put some distance between us, and cursed, Get lost. Hiss. Holy crap, you scared the hell out of me. Getting back to the point, did you know Yinchi repeated a year just to go to the same university as you? She worked incredibly hard. You dog. Not only did you not contact her, but when she arrived at university, you even pretended not to know her well. That's really something else. Heechin grumbled. I knew the reason Li Yinchi repeated the year. I also knew she used Heechin's account to gossip about me during the winter and summer breaks of our freshman and sophomore years. I knew damn near everything, except that they were actually relatives within 3 generations. Thank God we didn't miss our chance. I just couldn't, be open about it. I explained awkwardly. Inwardly, I cursed him for calling me a dog. If I wasn't trying to protect his reputation, would I have acted this way? Bullshit. I know what you were thinking. Don't say it was for my sake. I won't appreciate that favor one bit. Besides, why didn't you ask me? When I asked you to pretend to be your boyfriend, didn't you think something was off? I thought you were the Hulk before, and later, I guess you wanted to call off the engagement. Go screw yourself. You're the Hulk? Okay. Damn it. Sometimes I really don't get you. You're such a smart guy. Don't you understand the principle of not being ashamed to ask questions? Besides, you two lived together for so long, even ended up rolling onto the same bed. You should have talked about everything by now. How come you never talked about this? I was speechless. This issue was like a thorn in my heart. Incredibly sensitive, okay? How could I possibly have asked? I didn't answer him. He continued. You're really something else. Managing to restrain yourself from touching her. Sigh. There's a reason you're good at academics. At least your self-control is unparalleled. And my parents, along with Yinshi's parents, all think that the drone company creating so many advanced patents in such a short time has a lot to do with your virgin status. Fuck. Are you asking for trouble? Can you talk properly? Hey, Director Lee, you're already 27. Isn't it time to take off that director cap? What are you talking about? I don't have an administrative role. Where would I get a director cap? TSK, this virginity isn't that directorship. Holy crap. Can you please act like a decent human being? Hichin roared with laughter, bending back and forth. I urged him to hurry outside. They were waiting for the ceremony to start. Brother, acknowledging you as my brother is the most worthwhile thing I've ever done, Hichin said sincerely. After all, if he had really been engaged to Li Yinshi since childhood, anyone else in my position would have tried to steal her away long ago to climb the social ladder. After Hichin's engagement ceremony ended, Grandma solemnly gave the fountain pen she had always treasured to Li Yinshi. Li Yinshi hugged the pen and started to cry. This fountain pen had a story. It was the love token my grandpa gave to Grandma. Hichin knew. Li Yinshi also knew. The meaning behind Li Yinshi giving me that fountain pen back then was also imitating my grandparents' story. That's why she insisted I take her to get that fountain pen back. Xia Xiaofan is now getting ready to have a baby. I originally thought she would wait for me. She chased me for 2 years. We were boyfriend and girlfriend for a few hours, went through such dramatic stuff. And in the end, she got married, but the groom wasn't me. My attitude when asking for the pen back and my QQ status signature, wasn't it obvious enough that I had my reasons? Fuck, what the hell was I expecting? I slapped myself. Li Yinshi, she's my girlfriend. How could I feel regret over someone else's wife? My net worth now, based on 10% of the company being valued at 100 million, although still incomparable to the He and Lee families for now, means I'm fucking worth billions. Once I develop the stable gimbal, I can open up a vast new world for drones. By then, the company's market value will be incomparable even to the He and Lee families combined. I'm already qualified to marry Li Yinshi. That day, I proposed to her. Our wedding and Hichin's wedding were held on the same day. An especially grand wedding. In everyone's return gift, I placed an apricot grown by my grandmother's own hands. I hope the people who love me and the people I love will have peace, joy, and fulfilled love for the rest of their lives. May everyone in this life attain all they desire, receive all they expect, find their paths smooth, lose only what they don't love, have much joy, and always find peace. I just don't know if my grandfather in heaven saw this scene.